Have you ever seen where someone make a post about another person without calling the person's name or mentioning the person's name expressly, but everyone who knows the situation immediately knows that this is who the post is referring to? Or have you ever heard someone make a statement or say something about another person and you automatically know who they are talking about without them calling the person's name? Like everybody around know that this is the person they are referring to, but the person's name was not expressly mentioned. So can such statements amount to defamation? Potentially yes. Welcome back to Law, Logic and Life, where we simplify the law. My name is Ngweshimam Tonga and I'm a legal practitioner. In this video, I'll be talking about defamation. So what is defamation? Defamation simply means making a false statement about another person or an organization that harms their reputation. So making a false statement about someone or an organization that harms their reputation is defamation. So what are the four ingredients of defamation? There are four ingredients which anybody alleging defamation must prove. These four ingredients are one, that the statement was presented as a fact and not just as an opinion. You know, there is difference between an opinion and stating facts. So if the statement is made as a fact and not just as an opinion, it will amount to defamation. That is the first ingredient. The second ingredient that is that the statement is false. And the third ingredient is that someone else heard the statement. Aside the person alleging defamation, there is another person that heard the statement. That will amount to defamation. And the fourth ingredient is that the statement cause harm, such as damage to reputation, finances, or career. So the four ingredients of defamation: that the statement was presented as a fact and not just an as opinion, that the statement was false, that someone else heard the statement, and the statement caused harm such as damage to reputation, career, or finance. So what are the two types of defamation? We have libel and slander. So what is libel? Libel simply means defamation in a permanent form. It can be in writing, in a printed form, newspaper publication, social media posts. So far as it's permanent, is libel. So what is slander? Slander is defamation in a transient or spoken form. A defamatory statement that is made verbally is slander. Also, physical gesture is also slander. There are some physical gestures that can amount to defamation. So we we also have something like audio recording, that is libel by slander. And audio recording is in a permanent form and is made in a spoken form. So that is libel by slander. So can a dead person be defamed? Of course yes, a dead person also has reputation and he can be defamed. So if someone made a statement and that statement is capable of defaming that deceased person when had it been his alive, that will amount to defamation. Let's say for example, someone say Chief Bako was a notorious fraudster who stole millions of naira from his business partners when he was alive. That is defamation because that statement, had it been Chief Bako was alive, that would have amount to slander. So even though he's dead, that will still amount to slander because that statement is intended to annoy his family or close relative. So the family or close relative can sue for defamation, and if they can prove these four ingredients, they will succeed. So a company can also be defamed. A company also has a reputation. So I don't know if you remember about the story of a lady that make a defamatory statement about a tomato company and she was arrested. it was defamation and she was arrested for it. So a company also have the reputation and they can sue for defamation. A group of persons can also sue for defamation. Let's say city boys. This I think there is something like city boys movement. So they are a group of persons, they can also sue for defamation. An association like ASU or Nigerian Labour Congress, they also have reputation, their association, and they can also sue for defamation. And once they can prove these four ingredients, they will succeed in their suit for defamation. So what is um what is the punishment for defamation? According to section 392 of the Nigerian Penal Code law, defamation is punishable with 2 years imprisonment or an option of fine, or both 2 years imprisonment and fine. So defamation can be a crime and a tortious wrong depending on the circumstances or the statements made or the person suing. Someone can choose to sue under tortious wrong and claim damages like an apology or 2 billion naira or the rest, like compensation, or he can sue in as a crime, which you'll be sentenced to prison, and or you'll be asked to pay fine, or even both. So um, a sarcastic remark can also amount to defamation. Let's say, for example, there are rumors that Mrs. B commits adultery, and you didn't even know whether it's true or not. And when you cited Mrs. B, you say that some people are known for committing adultery, call your husband well, or they'll snatch your husband away. That is a sarcastic remark, and it amounts to defamation. Mrs. B can sue you for defamation whether you didn't call her name, right? She can sue and she will still succeed in her suit for defamation. Also, an irony can also amount to defamation. Let's say there is a theft and someone is suspected of stealing what is missing. Let's say money is missing, and all fingers are pointing at that person, and there is no evidence proving that that person stole that money. And then you say that you call that person's name and say that that person is the most honest and upright person in this town. He can never steal anybody's money. That is an irony. You know that you didn't mean what you're saying. You are meaning the opposite of what you are saying. So that can also amount to defamation. So there is something I would like you to know: vulgar abuse and defamation. There are some statements that ordinarily they would have amount to defamation, but because they are said during a fight, they cannot amount to defamation. Yes, like during a fight, a quarrel, a heated argument, exchange of word, banters like that. So if there is a fight and someone is insulting you, like calling you ex-convict, um, all those names, and ordinarily those statements would have been defamation, but since it's during a fight, they are vulgar abuse and not defamation. There is this case, the case of Bakari versus Ishola. In the case, Bakari and Ishola were involved in a fight, and um, Ishola called Bakari an ex-convict and someone who just came out of prison, and they were bystanders watching and listening. So Bakari later sued Ishola for um, defamation, and the court held that it is vulgar abuse because it happens during a fight. So it was not defamation. But then there is this case of Ibano versus Uba. In the case, Uba accused uh, Ibano of bringing people to steal their neighbors' goods. So this one, it was not during a fight, so it was held that is defamation, because he accused, although Ibano was not there, but they told him that this is what uh, Ubai is saying, that he's the one that brought thieves to come and steal their neighbor's good. So he sued for defamation and he succeeded in his suit. So it doesn't matter whether the person's name is expressly mentioned or not. So far as from the statement, there are people that can identify that person from the statement, that will amount to defamation. So the question is not whether the person's name was expressly mentioned. The question is, can that person be identified from the statement? So if it's yes, then that will amount to defamation. Thank you for listening. Disclaimer: this is just for educational purpose and not legal advice. This is Law, Logic, and Life. Thank you for listening. See you next time.